Hey everybody, welcome back to Hangin With Harv. It's been a while. Have you missed me? I've missed all of you. Today, we're going to be working on reassembling an antique bench. When I got the bench, it was held together with string, basically, to keep it from coming apart. So the taking it apart was not a difficult task. And if you'd like to see the video where I start this project and disassemble and get the finish off, that kind of thing, go check out this other video. I'll put a link up in the upper right corner to it and down in the description as well. But essentially where the project ended up is I got all of the finish off of it. I sanded it as best I could. One of the first things that I noticed is it's not all made out of the same species of wood. Now, when it was originally finished, it was finished with a very dark stain. And so I imagine that they did that to essentially hide the fact that it was made from different species of wood. And I kind of think that's a common thing. Basically, where we ended up with this, the customer wanted this to be clear coated or, not stained dark or painted or anything. Before I went further and glued it back together and reassembled it, I wanted to see whether or not the customer wanted to have this stained. But before that could happen, the person that owns this bench wanted to see it. And that's kind of where things sat for the last 2 years. I now have the go-ahead to finish this piece up. So before we go any farther, I'd just like to kind of point out a couple things here that I thought were interesting. If I put these two pieces next to each other, what you're going to see, hopefully, is they don't line up here and they don't line up down here. They're not perfectly symmetrical. And I don't know why, like I said, that fascinates me, other than to say you would never know that if you wouldn't have disassembled the bench. And it just goes to show you that you don't have to be perfect in woodworking. All I can tell you is it's not perfect. But at the same point in time, because it's not perfect, it makes it perfect, if that makes sense. Just checking all of the mortise holes to make sure there's no glue. My Durest ice pick is bent. Apparently this glue is stronger than it. Because I bent a tip. All right, well, enough jibber jabber. Let's get going here. All right, well, we got our bench clamped up. Everything is flush here at the top where it should be. All right, so we've got the bench all reassembled. It's all glued up. Took it out of the clamp, and now all we're gonna do is clean up some of the glue joints. All right, well, I think I'm gonna get some sandpaper, and I'm just gonna give it a light sanding at this point because it doesn't need much. Just want to touch it up a little bit. All right, well, I think that's got all the sanding done that it needs. What we'll do is we'll blow it off and get ready to mix up the finish. The finish that we're going to be using is something that we're going to make ourselves. Some of you may be familiar with this method, but for those that aren't, basically it's a very easy, straightforward finish that is 1 part mineral spirits, 1 part boiled linseed oil, and 1 part polyurethane. All right, it's mixing magic time. Oh, that stuff. That's stuff right there. I don't care. Good grief. We're going to have to break out the jaws of life on this puppy. We're going to try some good old Craftsman Robo Grips. I wonder if they still make these. I liked them. I don't know. Maybe other people didn't, but I liked them. That got that open in a jiffy, didn't it? All right, here we go. Last ingredient, and there it is. Ooh, isn't that pretty? That's pretty. Now we're going to take our stirrer and we're just going to mix that all around. Ooh, that looks So it will take a little time. We'll gradually build up a nice finish on this. I would say probably 5 or 6 coats, and this will have a very nice sheen to it. So the next thing I'm going to do, we've got a couple, 3 coats, 4 coats on here. I'm going to go ahead and take a little slice of this 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to give it a light sanding. Just squeezing the rag. You want a damp, wet rag, but you don't want it dripping, right? Because just pay attention, listen to me. I said you don't want it dripping. You get a connection, right? You get a connection to the projects that you work on. I do. I'm just rambling. I do that sometimes in projects. On the upside though, I'm actually recording this, so it makes me feel like I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to all of you people. Of course, I don't think there's anything wrong with talking to yourself. I'm just saying, makes me feel less crazy. Alright guys, so we've got 4 or 5 coats of our finish on the antique bench here, and something that we knew going in is that there were 2 different woods on this, and it was something that the owner was okay with, leaving it as is and just finishing it with kind of a clear stain or a clear finish. Wanted the natural wood, didn't want to muddy this up in order to tint it or paint it or anything. One of the woodworkers that I follow on YouTube and watch quite often is Tom Johnson of Thomas Johnson Furniture Restoration in Gorham, Maine. And for work, I had the opportunity to fly into Portland, Maine, and I felt I ought to pay him a visit and get some insight from him. And basically, one of the practices that he uses quite often is when he's refinishing something that's antique. Say he would refinish this leg but leave this the way it was. Now he's got to match these 2 together. And so one of the products that he uses to do that is something called a toner. And so I thought, well, I'm going to give it a shot. I got some suggestions from him on some different toners. And then basically I came back here and I took one of the corner blocks that I believe is pretty much this same species of wood here. And obviously it's a corner block. It goes inside. It's for attaching the bench seat. So I took these that I had already, again, applied that finish to, and I used 2 different toners that I purchased. The first toner that I tried is this brown mahogany from Mohawk. And as you can see, if I hold this up here, it's not bad. However, I also purchased another one that's dark red mahogany. And I actually like that so much better. So if I put the sample up here, and again, this sample started out looking like this, right? So you can see the difference there in the coloration that you get with a toner. So the next thing that we're going to actually do is I'm going to tape off all of the mahogany parts, and we're going to use this dark red mahogany toner, and we're going to actually try and tone this whole project. And I think that'll give us a better result. Now comes the fun part. Trying to wrangle some paper here. Woo, baby. Woo, baby. That's good stuff right there. Here you go. Oh, yeah. First, we're just going to cut it down and make something a little bit more manageable. We'll just set that to the side right there. And it's dual purpose. Hide some of my junk here on the bench. Alright, so let's see here. Come here, come here. Ah. That's probably not safe. I wouldn't advise you to put things in your mouth that you're not familiar with, because old Harv's just a little bit dangerous, that's all. I live on the edge some days. Official Hangin' With Harv hat. get your Hangin With Harv hat at www.hangwithharv.com. I don't know about you, but old Harv loves a good tape job. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rub the surface with a little steel wool here, just to, I don't know, just to do something, just because I think you should. We'll just kind of break down a little bit of the finish, just so there's something to stick to, you know. I like to start on the bottom side, hit real light from underneath, kind of these areas, and then I'll flip the bench over and kind of hit those show areas second. Gosh, that's gorgeous. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Woohoo! Wow. 3-year project finally coming together. Alright, so we've let the aerosol dry for a couple hours now, and we're just going to take the paper off here and see what it looks like. I think it turned out excellent, to be quite honest with you. I'm very happy with the finish. The only thing that we have left to do now is going to be to apply a top coat of clear to seal that toner in, and then we'll return it back to the customer. I think it turned out very well. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Smash that like button if you liked it, and make sure you're a subscriber of Old Harv here. Click the bell icon so that you can be notified the next time I publish a video. And as always, thanks for hanging with Harv.